Graduands, guests and colleagues, my name is Mary Howarth and I am delighted to welcome you all to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket because you'll be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you to locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you'll be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they've passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment after you've crossed the stage. If you do, don't worry, you have still graduated. But don't try to go back because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduation information desk in the Spring Lane building where you collected your gown 30 minutes after the ceremony closes to collect your parchment. Graduands, you are asked to either raise or doff your cap rather than shake hands with the Chancellor when you're called on stage. And if you are wearing a face mask, please feel free to remove it temporarily whilst on stage. And please all do pause for a moment at the spot marked X in the centre of the stage for that all-important photo opportunity. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and will escort you to the nearest exit. Today, our graduating students become alumni of the University of York, and you will join an international community of over 140,000 York alumni in 180 countries. Your Alumni Association is a vibrant and active global network offering events and services and opportunities designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and to support your career development. We will be there for you every step as you embark on this next chapter, and you will shortly receive an email giving you further details of the ways in which you can remain connected and involved. Do please follow our alumni social media channels on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and check out the Alumni Association website to keep in touch and learn more about life as a York graduate. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding the career paths that you take will help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure that we continue to offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Please remember to join us for our celebratory reception following the ceremony in the Exhibition Centre, where you'll be able to celebrate your achievement with a complimentary glass of fizz and a selection of refreshments. Finally, can I ask you please to mute your mobile phones, and if you're comfortably able, would you please now stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to this graduation ceremony here at the University of York. Please do be seated. So it's a very warm welcome to everybody. I know many of you have come from great distances. Also, many people will be watching us today remotely on their screens. It's a celebration of the achievements of our graduating classes in biology. I'm Malcolm Grant. I'm the Chancellor, which is a largely honorary ceremonial position at the university. But I'm joined today on the stage by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charlie Jeffrey, and by many members, I'm happy to say, of the academic staff of the university. So I say it's a celebration, and I just wanted, in my brief comments this morning, to pursue three themes. The first is the nature of these ceremonies. The fact that your most forward-looking group of people that we could imagine in the 21st century are sitting here dressed in medieval robes. That's weird. But it's true across the world. There's something that unites universities across the world in formally recognizing the nature of graduation from an institution of higher education. It's a ceremony. It's a ceremony that has an element of formality. As you come across the stage as graduands, somehow magically, as you reach that side, you are graduates of the University of York. And of course, there's no higher status in the world to which to aspire than that. But it's also an opportunity for fun. It really is an informal celebration. And when we look at our graduating class this year, we just think of everything that you have been through this appalling pandemic that has affected every life on the globe. And that brings me to the second theme, which is biology. What an extraordinary array of specialties exists under that huge umbrella called biology. It is a foundational discipline, and particularly of our times. Think about that pandemic. York, by the way, historically has been no stranger to infectious diseases. In the 15th century, the Black Death ran through the city. In 1692, the plague had a devastating impact, something like 1/3 of the population of the city of York. 1832, it was time for cholera. But this pandemic has been very different. This pandemic, having started with the discovery in that city in China called Wuhan of a strange disease that was causing death very quickly from the time of its inception, settled initially within China under a blanket of secrecy, and then slowly out came the details. And at that point, global biology set into action. The ability to do the sequencing of this virus, to try to understand its characteristics. It was an opportunity, particularly in the UK, for genomic sequencing to be used extensively, not only on the original virus, but also on the variants as they came through and are continuing to come through. So we saw at that stage an early deployment of biological intelligence and understanding, but not just biology. The thing that makes sequencing so potent is the intersection between biology and computer science, the ability not only to sequence the genome, but to understand the billions of pieces of data that flow from the sequencing. The next stage, of course, was the development of vaccines. We currently estimate that something like 20 million lives around the world have been saved by vaccines. My guess is that it would have been many more had we been more effective at distributing the vaccines across the rest of the world. 20 million lives. If this pandemic had occurred 20 years ago, we would have been facing devastation on a much greater scale. And that's what makes me conclude that biology is such a foundational discipline, because the discoveries and developments in biological science over the past 2 decades transformed the globe's ability to deal with this virus. I recall in February 2020, we had no confidence that we could develop a vaccine within 4 years for this virus. And so the transformative character of the work that was done by the BioNTech team in Mainz in Germany using RMNA technologies for the first time into a vaccine, now being deployed, by the way, into cancer vaccines, huge potential, and then the astonishing work of Sarah Gilbert and her team in Oxford in developing the AstraZeneca vaccine. These are tributes not only to the power of our current understanding of human biology, but also the power of mobilizing resources under an emergency to bring about changes that are of huge benefit to mankind. So the third theme is you, the graduating class. There's every reason at this time in the history of the world for deep depression. We've had a pandemic. We're now seeing monkeypox. We just saw yesterday the emergence of Marburg virus in Ghana, potentially lethal virus, as yet not spreading very far, but with the potential to cause yet more damage. We're also seeing warfare in Ukraine and the impact of that. We're seeing climate change as evidenced this week, not only in York, but across this entire country. So there's every reason to feel really miserable. But don't. And don't take my word for it. If I'd been standing here 30 years ago, we'd have been worrying about nuclear warfare, we'd have been worrying about threats between Russia and China, we would have been worried about global conflagration, we've been worried about things that didn't take place. And my message to you this morning is, you are our future. You as biologists have that capacity to mobilize, as your past generations have done in response to this pandemic, and to help to take us through, I think, what will be not only difficult years ahead, but years of human discovery, years in which our universities, working in a multidisciplinary way, working with governments, working with each other, working with the private sector, can help to protect mankind and advance human health across the world. You are our future. And today, we're here to congratulate you on everything that you've achieved up until now, and to extend our desperate hopes that you will save us for the future. I declare this ceremony open for the conferment of awards. Thank you all very much.
Professor James Moir will present awards on behalf of the Department of Biology.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Adapting to the Challenges of a Changing Environment, for research in biocontrol of a plant pathogenic bacterium, Carrie Alderley. For research in pheromone evolution in heliconius butterflies, Bruna Karma. For research in bacterial plasmid segregation mechanisms, excuse me, Iman Al-Naqshbandi. For research in identifying active microbes in anaerobic digestion, Yuma Chris Amakan. For research in tillage, the soil microbiome and pesticide fate, Stephen Brignall. For research in salt marsh restoration, from terrestrial to marine, Leda Tsai. For research in characterization of bacterial surface proteins, Rachel Cooper. For research in systematic conservation planning in the UK, Charles Cunningham. For research in novel enzyme discovery in extremophilic red algae, Sarah Cloud Lauren Locke. For research in water use adaptation via the barley circadian clock, Kayla McCarthy. For research in climate change genetics in a montane butterfly, Melissa Minter. For research in adapting MCM helicases for use in DNA sequencing, Oliver Noble. For research in investigating polyhalite as a potassium fertiliser, Alice Thomas. For research in plant virus vector interactions, Pierre-Alain van Griethuizen. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanistic Biology, for research in sleep-related brain rhythms in Rett syndrome, Grace Cowan. For research in the role of sodium channels in breast cancer cells, Alexander Howarth. For research in hematopoiesis during native conditions and ITP, Oliver Hurd. For research in the secretomes of bone marrow stromal cells, Andrew Stone. For research in improving wheat yield using silicon, Sarah Thorne. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Biology, Fiona Bain. Georgia Bateman. Charlotte Head. Harry Thompson. Amy Wells. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Biomedical Sciences, Benjamin Jarvis. For the degree of Master of Science in Biodiversity, Ecology and Ecosystems, Terry Soniken. For the degree of Master of Biology in Biology, Alicia Bashkert. Faye Bennett. Lucy Elizabeth Coupland. Zoe Duffin. Kimberly Dykes. Olivia Foley. Francis Goss. Emma Hallett. Imogen Hockenhull. Caitlin Hodgin. Jodie Hutchinson. Rob Hyman. William Hind. Yamini Kedjadiwal. Ellie Kewin. Molly Cheskoski. Annalisa Lanza. Marina Martin Marotta. Ava Phillips. Jennifer Rippingale. Pierrick Roger. Sam Ross. Anne Stairmand. Poppy Stanton. Hugh Stevens. Charlotte Tunnicliffe. Harry Walker. Marcus Wells. Melissa Whitwell. Grace Woodhouse. Eleanor Woodward. For the degree of Master of Biology in Biology with a year in Industry... Oh, wait a minute. For the degree of Master of Biology in Biology with placement year, Sophie Davis. Oh, sorry. She's got her hands up. She's got a thumb up here. For the degree of Master of Biology in Biology with a year in Industry, Charlotte Gale. Once again now, for the degree of Master of Biology in Biology with a placement year, Sophie Davis. For the degree of Master of Biology in Biotechnology and Microbiology, Annabelle Clayton. Sarah Holder. Raucus Lukauskis. Jennifer MacDonald. Isaac Noble. Abby Potts. John Tuff. For the degree of Master of Biology in Ecology, Emily Durand. For the degree of Master of Biology in Genetics, Ibrahim Behr Magdoglu. Kit Brocklehurst. Hannah Rose Clark. Megan Clark. Emily Fradley. Matthew Gorringe. Celine Hashway. Benjamin Jones. Sanoj Stanislas. Giacomo Zundu. For the degree of Master of Biology in Molecular Cell Biology, Lucy Beavers. Oliver Cooper. Abigail Gardner. Abigail Heron. Poppy Holland Kay. Lauren Hort. Michaela Lee. Kolom Mabufor. John Mediavillo. For the degree of Master of Biomedical Science in Biomedical Sciences, Alexander Clark. Emily Davenport. Nasiba Ebrahimi. Joseph Foggin. Emily Goulding. Millie Heslington. Victoria Lord. Hashir Mahmood. Dominic Munns. Vanda Palace. Kayan Parker. Victoria Redfern. Chloe Rose. Sophia Sagudas. Holly Smith. Stella Wigglesworth Littlewood. For the degree of Master of Biochemistry in Biochemistry, Jasper Baker. Richard Bartlett. Thomas Chinnery. Paul Crosnier. Alexander Dickinson. Ben Green. Andrew Higginson. James Jeffries. Jake Kerrison. Ryan Knight. Alexander Moxham. Samuel Newman. Harriet Parkinson. Aaron Pillay. Eliza Grace Smith. Katie Eve Thompson. Isaac Very. For the degree of Master of Biochemistry in Biochemistry with a year in industry, Victoria Liu. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, Shanna Atfield. Dylan Beckley Robinson. Charles Cresswell. Anya Dar. Ethan Dakin. And Fatani Evgeniu.
Student ensemble Eonomy will now perform Don't Stop Believing by Journey and arranged by Owen Butcher.
Da 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 da.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took a midnight train going
Just a city boy, always in South Detroit. Took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, small wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting. Up and down the boulevard, there's shadows searching in the night. Street light, people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill. Paying anything to roll the dice. Just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some go on to sing the blues. No, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting. Up and down the boulevard, there's shadows searching in the night. Living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Street light people. Don't stop.
Chancellor, I have the honour of presenting the following candidates. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry, Hannah Keeley. Samantha Sun Yin Lee. Eloise McCown. Timur Ozdenya. Rhiannon Pass. Hannah Rahman. Georgina Rose. Louis Rowlands. Alexander Seaton. Laura Smith. William Spencer. Benjamin Spode. Harry Turner Burns. Jack Whitehurst. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry with a year in Europe, Joshua Smith. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry with a year in Industry, Grace Adjul Doku. Evie Cook. Alice Crook. Sarah Dance. Emily Dearlove. Abigail Foston. Fiona Kinnis. William Locke. Zoe Manser. Myra Tariq. For the degree of the Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry with Placement Year, Jack Askew. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology, Charlie Ann Barnes. Saoirse Barry. Lucy Beamish. Jake Bennett. Emma Booker. Rowan Bradbury. Alana Brown. Jodie Coles. Charlotte Cross. Jack Cross. Allegra Deverell White. Emma Dobby. Ewan Drakeford. Michael Ebenezer. Sophie Evans. Ellie Fosbrook. Caitlin Frost. Callum Gaskell. Maya Hallam. Thomas Hampson. Emma Headley. Jack Hope. Jonathan Jelfs. Fuang Pachara Kanjanustei. Rachel Kay. Pip Lamond Warner. India Grace Tirala Lawson. Francesca Murden. Annabelle Natras. Eleanor Philcox. Emma Phillips. Hannah Ralph. Daniel Ranson. Jeff Reggie. Joseph Robson. Jamal Rowe Habari. Mariana Sadeh. Zoe Sawula. Cara Scobie. Ankit Thapa. Freya Thew. Jade Thillier. Megan Thomas. Bethany Thompson. Yunshang Tian. Kennedy Tonks. Jessica Westwell. Poppy Williams. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology with a year in Europe, James Gibbons. Harriet Hanscom Davies. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology with a year in Industry, Matthew Edwards. Lara Hilliard. Kimberly Holmes. Bethan Lerrett. Jess Murby. Katie Ritchie. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biology with a placement year, Hannah Betts. Sarah Brattle. Elizabeth Pendlington. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences, Hannah Brewer. Lucy Brown. Haneem El Sharif. Sean Evans. Alana Firth. Maxwell Fivey. Jack Greaves. Richard Halliday. Imi Hayton. Joan Labara Tirado.
Molly Lowe.
Lois McEwen.
Lucy Mile.
Oliver Morjaria. Fanny Muscali.
Rachel O'Dwyer.
Donna Ognianova. Monasha Rumhumi. Simrit Sahota. Faye Singleton.
Matthew Smeaton. Karenza Spence.
Yoshimi Tokuyama. Lewis Wickham. Lily Woodford. Selena Warwicker. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences with a year in Europe, Sarah de la Mota de Heroy. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences with a year in Industry, J.D. Acklam.
Lucy Barnes.
Olivia Buckland. Oscar Chan. Amy Ockleton. Sarah Penfold. Kimberly Perkins. Kiara Shaw. Olivia Taylor. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biomedical Sciences with placement year, Molly Chan.
Melissa Foyle.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and Microbiology, Thomas Elwood. Katie Hawkins. Stoel Nikolov. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and Microbiology with a year in Industry, William Nadin. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Ecology, Oliver Cook. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Ecology with a year in Europe, Alexander Dodds. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Genetics, Anna Hemsley.
William South.
Freya Whittington. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Genetics with a year in Industry, George Gordon.
Shannon Lee.
For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Molecular Cell Biology, Lydia Entwistle. Isabel Harris. Harry Moxham. Aidan Phillips. Alexis Weber da Silva. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, Nosheen Hussain.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Emily Fradley, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2022. Our orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2022, I give you Emily Fradley.
Graduands, guests, friends and family, it's an honour to welcome you all here on behalf of the graduates of 2022. I wanted to take this opportunity to reflect on the past few years at York. Coming to university is all about learning and growing, but it's still surprising how much you can change in a few short years. Personally, I see the version of myself from 4 years ago as nearly a whole different person. That me was so apprehensive about the future and couldn't bear the thought of confronting new challenges. The fact that I'm able to stand in front of you now is proof of my growth and how I'm more than the anxieties that used to hold me back. I think I can truly attribute these changes to the positive impact that studying here at York has had on me, particularly the community we have, especially amongst the colleges. During my time here, I've spent most of it involved deeply with the college system, and I think we are genuinely lucky to have a collegiate university. Colleges provide us a home and a community to embed ourselves in from the moment we come to York. And whether we find other groups and make new connections, colleges are there for us consistently until the very end. Having a community was especially useful for me during my time as a student. The past few years have been tough. Everyone has had a different burden to bear, but we all faced challenges the last few years, COVID not least amongst them. But we are here together now is a testament to how we overcame those challenges. Through perseverance and the collaboration of minds, we were able to continue through these hard times. We took the challenge and made it a triumph, building even stronger connections while we were all kept apart. As graduates in biology, we all understand the importance of connections. All living things are connected, and this is a theme we could apply to ourselves too. Everyone graduating has formed relationships with peers and staff, creating a great network that we are all a part of. Being in York has allowed even further connections with our colleges and even with the city itself. Whether it's through societies, sports, or academics, we have all found friends and built bonds that have shaped our time here. Graduating is not only a recognition of our learning, but a celebration of the community we have built together in this place. No matter how far we spread after this, we will always be a part of a greater collective, linked despite time and distance to each other, to our colleges, to our friends and colleagues, and to York. We can gain comfort from that knowledge with whatever challenges come to face us in the future. Finally, graduation is about achievement, not just academic but personal. There are so many small triumphs throughout our lives that nobody is there to celebrate or acknowledge. Now is the perfect time. We are here not just to celebrate this academic achievement, but every small victory and personal growth achieved here. From completing your first assignment to persevering through pandemics, we should all be proud of what we've achieved over these years together, big or small. Let's carry these victories forward and continue to grow as we move on to bigger and brighter futures.
Chancellor, before you get up, may we interrupt proceedings with one vital additional element today. I'd like to introduce our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Charlie Jeffrey, who has an important additional message. Vice-Chancellor.
Chancellor, graduates, guests and colleagues, I have an unusual but very pleasant task here today. As some of you may know, this cycle of graduation ceremonies, which is the high point of our academic year, constitute Professor Sir Malcolm Grant's final duties before he steps down after 7 years of outstanding service to this university as its Chancellor. So, I am mounting a coup here. I am seizing control of this ceremony for a few minutes in order to present Malcolm with an honorary degree. Indeed. Okay. Now, conferring an honorary degree upon someone is the highest honour that this university can bestow. We do so to acknowledge and celebrate the excellence of a person's achievements. We honour those who've made a profound difference to society, those whose work has expanded the frontiers of knowledge or advanced education, and those whose achievements serve as a beacon of inspiration to our graduates by dint of their example. All that and more are the hallmarks of Sir Malcolm Grant, not just as our Chancellor, but as a global leader in education and also in healthcare management. I could stand here for a very long time listing Malcolm's many achievements as a barrister, an academic lawyer, as a University Vice-Chancellor, as Chair of NHS England, not to mention the quite astonishing number of advisory roles he's undertaken in the fields of university funding, access to education, academic refugees, standards in public life, local government, the regulation of genetics technologies, and much more. But in reflecting on all those outstanding achievements, but also the wisdom and advice Malcolm has brought to this university as our Chancellor, I'm reminded that it's not just what you do, but how you do it that's important. The great Maya Angelou could have been thinking precisely about Malcolm Grant when she said, "People may forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Now, I'm sure that graduates crossing this stage today will agree. Malcolm has a unique knack of greeting all of our graduates as if they were a family friend he hadn't seen for a while, giving a warm welcome at a moment when some, perhaps, are just a little bit nervous. Now, Malcolm, in your 7 years of chancellorship, your empathy, your curiosity, your interest in the university, your passionate belief in the value of education has given so many of us, me included, motivation, confidence, inspiration, and energy. And when Malcolm gave his inaugural address on this stage 7 years ago, he posed the question, what is a chancellor? And he went on to say, the role is honorific, titular, but imagine the opportunity to work as an advocate for students, to work as an advocate for staff, to work closely on understanding how the future of the university can be delivered, to understand its funding and fundraising potential to deliver outcomes we all want for this great university. Malcolm has delivered on that opportunity in every possible way. By my calculation, Malcolm, you have presided with grace, wit and wisdom over more than 100 graduation ceremonies. And that's a milestone in the lives of about 30,000 students from across the world. You were instrumental in recognising the potential of philanthropy to support our work. You've long challenged the idea that, I quote, philanthropy is somehow alien to the national psyche and that asking for money is not the British thing to do. This, you said, is frankly nonsense. most of our leading universities owe their origins to philanthropy, as indeed does this one. The land this building stands on was donated to the university. Our colleges that date back to the 1960s, in which many of the graduates graduating today lived in their first year, were built following a successful fundraising campaign in York and Yorkshire. Malcolm, your advice and experience has helped us rediscover that York tradition of philanthropy and shaped an institutional fundraising campaign which is well set to achieve its target of £120 million of philanthropic income by the start of 2023. Amongst much else, that has enabled us to expand scholarship programs that are enabling students, often from disadvantaged backgrounds, to achieve their very best. And we thank you for your personal support for the establishment of the Chancellor's Leadership Prize, which has touched the lives of so many of our students. Let me quote from one recipient. The University of York is an incredible institution. Students such as myself are so appreciative of your phenomenal work shaping every student's experience. I take this opportunity to thank you for everything you do. You and every member of staff at the university have shaped my journey and made my career prospects all the more achievable. The University of York has never judged me for my disability, nor has it restricted me. I'm wholeheartedly proud to have graduated from the University of York, and receiving this award means the world to me. Malcolm's own academic interests and leadership have also played an important role in helping to develop significant university initiatives, including in the bioeconomy, the creative industries, and autonomous systems, for which he's hosted major events and inspired engagement and action with key partners, trusts and foundations, and individual donors. Malcolm has also been a sounding board and a provider of sage advice to me and senior colleagues at the university. But no doubt because he has been a very successful Vice-Chancellor at another university, he's always understood the very different role that the Chancellor plays, enabling, prompting, suggesting, but then standing back. Malcolm is a passionate defender and advocate for the transformative value of higher education, and his insights and strategic advice are widely sought after by universities and governments around the world. For example, working on advisory panels to the French government, helping to restructure French higher education, or serving as advisor to Arizona State University in the US as it drives on the adoption of innovative digital educational methods. Malcolm, your contributions to higher education, and in particular to the University of York, are many, and they'll have long-lasting legacies for us. You're part of our history. Honouring you now with an honorary degree as you step away from your role of Chancellor is not just our way of recognising your outstanding and inspirational career, but also an opportunity for us to maintain a close connection in the years to come. To put it another way, and with apologies to the Eagles, the University of York is a bit like the Hotel California. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. So, in recognition of your outstanding career and of your tremendous service to the University of York, I have the honour, privilege and pleasure to confer upon you the award of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
You're a naughty boy.
And there's more. Malcolm, we know that you're a great lover of music, perhaps less the Eagles and more Elgar. So to mark the end of your term as Chancellor, one of our brilliant colleagues, the composer and music academic Leonard Sunderman, has written new organ works for our graduation ceremonies. They will serve as an enduring legacy and celebration of your time as Chancellor. We have a new processional, which accompanies the academic procession into this hall at the start of graduation ceremonies, and a new recessional, which accompanies the academic procession out again at the end. Now let me quote from Leonard Sanderman. The processional explores the journey through university to graduation. The recessional celebrates the path of students from the University of York into the world. The opening statements are bold and direct, celebrating the accomplishments of students. The second theme is an expression of a quieter, long-term sense of confidence and openness. The third theme is motivational melody, which begins by capturing the imaginations of the listener. The theme is then repeated more powerfully with a punchy accompaniment that rallies the listener to action. This enables the return of all three themes in a great celebration of the accomplishment of all present, students, staff, parents, and all who supported the graduates during their time at the University of York. The music was recorded at the renowned Hill Organ in Selby Abbey. And Malcolm, once you declare this congregation closed, we will hear the new recessional for the first time, and the new processional will be played for the first time at the start of the next graduation ceremony later today. So, with apologies, I will now stop interfering with the conduct of this ceremony and cede control back to you.
Well, I'm not very easily embarrassed, but I've just been ambushed by the Vice-Chancellor, and all I can say is it's been fabulous. To be the Chancellor of a university as wonderful as this is perhaps the greatest honour, and to be awarded an honorary degree in an ambush. I have to say, there was no intimation of any of this. I entered this room in good faith, but I don't feel disappointed. I am immensely honoured. Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, and for all of those who conspired in this. And I will look forward in a moment to that organ music as we leave the hall. But to me, it's also an intimation of what a fabulous institution this is. Biology today, but music, one of the greatest music schools in the country, philosophy, economics, the whole array of disciplines that I've had the privilege of presiding over at graduation ceremonies for 7 years. But nobody ever complained by saying that the Chancellor's speech was too short. Indeed, one of my jobs has always been to make sure that our graduates go out into the world properly sedated. But thank you all for sharing with me this celebration today. I'm going to close the ceremony shortly, but before I do, there's a few words of thanks I need to make. First of all, obviously, to the Vice-Chancellor and to his team for conspiring in this extraordinary way. I want also to thank Emily Bradley for that fabulous speech. The student oration is always one of the highlights of these ceremonies, and you did it so well. Thank you very much. And to the student choir, the Honorary, did you hear the way those voices just floated right up to the rafters? I mean, they're fabulous, and their own arrangements as well, just an extraordinary. They're not here for us to applaud, but I know that we are applauding them nonetheless. So let me then turn to the next group, who it's my privilege to express thanks to on behalf of you all, and that's the staff. Not just the academic staff, but all the staff, those who make these ceremonies possible, but those who have taken you through the last 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7 years. I'm thinking particularly of our PhD graduates today. What a fantastic achievement to go through that years and years of focusing intensely on generating new discovery and new knowledge. But also for our masters and bachelors, the academic staff we owe an enormous amount to, particularly over the last few years. So please. And then I know you're going to join me in expressing thanks to the other group of people who have made it possible for you to graduate today, and that's family. Family, friends, daughters, sons, parents, grandparents, they're all here and they're also watching from around the world. Will you just join me in saying thank you so much for everything you've done to support you during your university career? Let's go! And then the last one, well, it's the graduating class. By the way, I'm one of them. By coincidence. But look, you have been through a very difficult period with this pandemic. I hope that, as I was expressing before, it's generated a sense of strength and resilience, an ability to face the future with great confidence as graduates of the University of York. Keep in touch with us and we will admire and respect your progress through life. So please, will you all join with me and congratulate our graduating class this year. I declare this congregation closed. Would you please stand for the academic procession and let the organ roll?